Hi, my name is Paige Isaac, and I'm the Land Use Planning Coordinator. Many First Nations communities across the country have embarked on creating their own land use plans. About 2 years ago, Listuguj has decided to do the same thing. I'm here today with Chief Darcy Gray to talk more about the land use plan. Where are we, and what led us to this point? Hi, Chief. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I wanted to begin by asking, what led to the development of the land use plan?
It was started off as a conversation around the council table and with our economic development department. Just the need for, I would say, a clearer vision or a clearer strategy in terms of our planning and community development. And about the same time as we were having this conversation, funding became available, and our economic development unit was able to go out and access those funds. So it was just sort of a serendipitous timing.
Yeah, sure. Why do you think Listuguj needs a land use plan? Like, what are the benefits to the community?
First and foremost, to me, it's the planning aspect of it. We do have a nice land base in our community. However, it seems to be getting a little constrained at times, specifically with regards to housing.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we've also acquired a sizable addition to reserve, and it just felt like the timing was right that we start setting land aside for specific purposes, and being more specific or deliberate in how we use certain areas of our community.
So when I'm out in the community, I've been asked, what is the difference between the land use plan and the land code?
There is a sizable difference, or a significant difference, I guess, in the two. One is sort of, I guess you can compare it to zoning in terms of the land use plan. So what would this area of the community be for? Do we want to say protect certain areas, consider them sacred places or spiritual healing areas, fishing only, no hunt zones, things like that. The land code is more about the rules around that and how we decide and set up our protocols, our rules, our procedures for deciding about land in our community.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So yeah, I saw the CCP, or the Listuguj Mi'kmaq Community Plan, as being the visionary document of our community. And the land use plan almost drawing from that, being a bit more specific and land focused, and then the land code sort of codifying that into rules, regulations, and land laws.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and the three tie into each other quite well, I believe. And it's interesting that we've been able to validate and approve through council, the CCP, while we're developing both a land use plan and there's discussions around a land code development.
Mm-hmm. So these documents are meant to be, or these initiatives are meant to be, to create a long-term vision. How do you think we can carry out that long-term vision? Like, how do we ensure that we can carry out those long-term visions based on community input in the land use plan?
Well, one of the interesting things, right, is I think is a communication aspect. So far, what we've been able to do is go out and gather a lot of input from our community. It's a matter of validating that with the decision makers. The 2-year cycles that we engage in, politically, or it's just I'd say it makes it a little difficult to get the necessary information out to everybody in a timely way so that we can plan appropriately. But that's what we have to work towards. And so it's not just the elected officials, it's not just the staff, it's not just, say, you as Paige working on the land use plan that knows about the land use plan. It's something that the community is aware of, so that regardless of who's here making the decisions, it's consistent with what we've been hearing as a community, and the input that we've been receiving. How do we get there is a big undertaking, and I think we're well on our way. We have good people that are doing good work and gathering good information. It's just a matter of taking that information and using it in our planning as we go forward.
How do you envision our community, let's say, in 20 years?
That's a big question. For me, I see us as a very prosperous community. I know from my experience here, we have a lot of capacity. We can do a lot, we've done a lot, and we'll continue to do so. I see us expanding our boundaries, new housing developed in areas we probably thought would never have houses, economic opportunities, perhaps a business center or an industrial center, specified healing areas, sacred areas, ability to reconnect with a bit of what we lost in our land and our territory. People hopefully, speaking our language fluently as they walk around and interact with one another. So there's a lot I think that we can strive for and try to achieve over the next, say, 20 years.
Mm-hmm. So I heard that in a lot of the community engagement sessions, which is really great. And so I want to build on that vision, those ideas for the future, go back out to the community and get their input on how do we get there? What does that action plan look like? What would you say to the community on how to engage further in the land use plan?
I think first and foremost is take the opportunity to get out there and be heard. Oftentimes we resort to social media as our way of voicing our opinions, but I think more formal approaches, submitting letters to Chief and Council, recommendations, attending the engagement sessions that are coordinated. We are taking the time to record that information, document and clearly share that information with everyone. So, to me, it's taking advantage of those opportunities to share your opinion in a formal way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want people to know that I want to hear all of the opinions. Not everyone agrees on certain things, but I think it's really important to just have your voice heard and have that included in the land use plan somehow.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So thank you for taking the time to sit with me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.